Does this rear look familiar to you? It might if you're interested in the EV6, but no, it's not an electric SUV. It's a petrol Kia Sportage SX, which is one of the cheapest SUVs of this size on the market today. And after driving it for a week with my family, I'm digging the new generation model, and I've discovered that it is a serious competitor for the medium SUV market. But let me show you why. There are multiple variants available for the Sportage, but this SX Petrol, which sits closer to the bottom than the top of the queue, will cost you just $37,000 before on-road costs, which sounds pretty good, doesn't it? And you can get it with a manual gearbox for $2,000 less. Some of the standard kit includes reversing camera, front parking sensors, 18-inch alloy wheels, and a slew of safety features that should make any enthusiast happy, but more on that later. If you're considering a medium SUV like this, it represents reasonable value for money, considering that you can drive away for $42,000, which makes it a real competitor against the likes of the Toyota RAV4 and Volkswagen Tiguan. Plus, you get Kia's 7-year cap price servicing and 7-year warranty, so not too bad at all. There's no denying that the new generation model has done the Sportage a lot of favors. It's damn stylish now and has awesome curbside appeal with the pronounced black grille and the cool LED arrowed lights that cut into it. But it's the rear that sees the most improvement, and like I've mentioned earlier, it takes some design cues from the EV6 with how it's got a swoopy, smoothed out rear and then it blows out over the wheel arches. Just makes it feel fresh and relevant. Considering this is one of the lower end models, it actually looks really stylish in here with the curved panoramic display, brushed chrome accents, the cool looking vents, and the soft synthetic leather top dash. I also really like that it's got the switchback control panel, and despite having some traditional features like the gear shifter and the key ignition, because there's no push button start on this grade, it doesn't feel naff. It actually makes it feel more solid. The space up front is really generous. You get a great amount of headroom and legroom. Plus, elbow room is good too for the more broad-shouldered individuals out there. The storage up front is actually pretty good considering that the glove box and the middle console are both a little bit shallow. You have a really large space in the center, which has retractable cup holders, plus a really decent sized cubby in front of the gear shifter, the storage bins, drink bottle holders on each door. The piano black makes the inside look quite polished, but I have noticed that there's quite a few scratches on it, so I don't know how well it's going to wear over long-term use. And the seats, they are a little bit firm, but surprisingly quite comfortable up front. I like that the driver's side has electric lumbar support, even though you adjust both seats manually. And while I'm not a massive fan of the cloth seats, because I always like something hardier with my son around, I don't mind the texture too much on these. I like that I'm not looking over a horizon worth of dash. Everything feels very accessible up front, which is great. The steering wheel is really comfortable, and I like that you can adjust it for reach and for height. This is wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it was easy to connect my iPhone 8 Plus to it, but I did notice that I had to turn the car on and off a couple of times to get the Bluetooth connection working, which was a little bit annoying this week when I was on the highway and I couldn't get my audiobook to play. I had to pull over because it was such a long trip and get it going again. The touchscreen can be quite laggy at times, which was a little bit annoying when you're on the road because you can't do everything from the steering wheel controls. The back seat has plenty of room, and I'm really loving the space I have back here. Plus, the squared off door apertures and the lower profile height of the car means it's easy to get in and out, which is something my 5-year-old really liked too. The higher window sills did mean that he missed out on the view he usually likes, but overall, the back feels pretty good. The seats, while they're wide and you've got decent under thigh support, they're actually really firm. So I'm not quite sure how comfortable a longer journey will be. And the backs of the seats, they don't have the practical kick plate that I like to see, especially when kids are in the car. I mean, with the rain and the mud this week, it was a bit of a pain to clean the backs of the seats from my kids' muddy footprints. Once you get over how big the space is back here, you do start to see that this is a basic model. You know, the amenities are a little bare bones for a family SUV. It's not the worst that I've seen, but there's no USB ports, climate control, you know, there's not extra storage cubbies for kids' stuff. I do like that there's a directional air vent though, that's pretty cool. The armrests in this car are actually at a decent height, which makes them useful. Plus they're really comfortable, which is what I like. There's ISOFIX mounts on the outboard seats, plus 3 top tether child seat mounts. And I think with the right child seat, you should be able to fit 3 side by side. It's been very easy to fit my harness booster seat this week, and there's plenty of space for front passengers when a 0 to 4 rearward facing child seat is installed too. I really like the size of this boot space. You've got plenty of room for gear. You can pop the back seats down with the manual levers on the side and have a level cargo area. Has a retractable cargo blind, and impressively, on all Sportage models, you get a full-size spare wheel. But the only downside to having it is that you can't adjust the floor height, meaning what you see is what you get. Also, there's no power tailgate on this model, and the lid is quite heavy, but this hefty handle makes it easy to close. The Kia Sportage SX Petrol has a front-wheel drivetrain, and it feels almost reluctant to stretch its legs. The power is a bit inconsistent. At lower speeds, you would almost call this zippy, but put your foot down to get up a hill, and it's going to whine and complain to you. You're going to get up there, no issue, but ain't going to be happy about it. The 6-speed auto transmission is very smooth, but the ride can get bumpy even on the open road. It's not enough that you get uncomfortable with it, but you're going to be aware of what kind of road you're on. The steering feels very direct, and I like how precise it feels when you're navigating a tight city street. The cabin is fairly quiet, but you do get quite a bit of wind noise in this. I'm not a fan of the reversing light. It's very small and positioned too low. I think it would be very easy to miss this, and it's an important feature for me. So parking this, you do make a few extra corrections to make sure there's enough space between you and the cars beside you, because it is a little bit wider than you expect. You're going to fit into a spot, no problem, and the reversing camera and front parking sensors just make it very easy to park. It's been easy to handle all around. The Sportage comes with some great safety features that I always like to see on a family SUV, like AEB with car, pedestrian, cyclist and junction detection, plus rear cross traffic alert. It also comes with all the usual airbags, plus a front center airbag, which you're starting to see on newer models. It has a maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing done in 2022 against the stricter criteria. But curiously, it was tested on the overseas model, not our version. And the overseas model has a different wheelbase and is smaller. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but it might not bother you. The Sportage comes with Kia's 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is better than most in this class. It has 7 years cap price servicing, and services average $497, which is a little bit more expensive for this class. Service intervals are reasonable though at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Kia Sportage SX Petrol is a medium SUV that actually delivers on space for its occupants and doesn't feel like a POV package despite its appealing price tag. Yep, it would be a very easy car to own, and I think it would suit families with small children because of the big boot space and the large back seat. I think I would have liked a more consistent driving experience, but for the price tag, I could live with it. And I give this a 7.5 out of 10. My son really liked the space he had in the back and the front display. He gives it an 8 out of 10. If you're after more details, check out the full review at the CarsGuide site. The link will be in the description, and I'll see you next week.